They are allowing life to happen to them instead of them happening to life. And so they go through life year after year, stage after stage, cycle after cycle, never making the progress that they want to make, never getting the results and the outcomes that they want to see in their lives. And it never dawns on them that they are living their lives without a sense of purpose. And let me say this to you today: the absence of purpose leads to the absence of power in our lives. Write that down. The absence of purpose leads to the absence of power in our lives. And so there are so many people that have given their personal power away. That's why you need to read Significance, because I can only touch this at a surface level on this podcast. So many people have given their power away. You are not even living your own life anymore. You're living somebody else's narrative. You're living somebody else's vision. You're living somebody else's cycles. You're living somebody else's reality. Why? Because you have never taken the time to get clear about what the vision, the plan, the purpose, the goal of what your life is going to be. And if you don't have a vision for your life, you're going to spend the rest of your life fulfilling somebody else's vision for you. And so I made a decision many years ago that I was going to get clear about what my vision is, what I wanted my life to look like, and what it was going to take for me to get to that life. Because I realized that if I want to move my life out of neutral into overdrive, if I want to shift the quality of my life, it was going to start with me shifting what I gave my focus and priority to in my life. Your priority defines your pursuits. Your priorities define your progress. Your priorities define your prosperity. And so you've got to get clear about your priorities if you really want to make progress in your life and you want to achieve a life of true success and prosperity. So we're talking about assessing where you became stuck. If you don't assess, you don't advance. And so every year people get fired up. They get new resolutions. They get new goals. They get new plans. They get all of these mantras and statements of what they're going to do and accomplish. And by week 3 of January, they have fallen off the bandwagon and reverted back to the same cycles of failure and defeat in their lives. Why? Because as we talked about on the last episode of this series, about how emotional buy-in is not enough. You cannot just buy in at the emotional level. You got to buy in at the intellectual level. You have to engage your mind if you expect to see manifestation in your life. Write that down. You have to engage your mind if you want to see the realization of manifestation happen in your life. And so your mind is mapping out and determining your moments and what manifests and the movement and the progression of your life. So you got to buy in intellectually or psychologically. But in order for this to happen, we really got to deal with this whole aspect of assessment. And why do I say that you need to assess where you became stuck? What I have understood and what I have come to understand over the years is that it is impossible to reverse a cycle in your life without the law of recognition. Write it down. It is impossible to reverse a cycle in your life without understanding the law of recognition. The law of recognition says that I cannot reverse and I cannot rise above what I have not recognized and understood about my life. Now, let me try to break this down for you. I cannot reverse a cycle. I cannot rise to a new level of possibility until I recognize and understand certain things about my life. When I think about this, I always think about the story of the prodigal son in the Bible. The scripture says that he had left home, he had spent all of his money on riotous living, and he found himself in one of the most despicable and deplorable places on the planet. He finds himself in a pig's pen. And when he gets into this pig pen, he has this moment of awareness that is so powerful. It says that when he came to himself, he said to himself. yourself. In other words, your transformation in life has nothing to do with your immediate circumstances or environment. It has everything to do with an internal conversation. It's the things that you are saying to yourself about yourself that are determining your destiny. And so in this moment, he realized that his programming was off. And he came to himself and he said to himself, ultimately, let me break this down in a Jamel Sanders version where you can understand it. Why is my life like this? What has become of my life? I think in order to get unstuck in your life, we have to take the time to answer the question of why did my life become like this? There's a passage in Scripture that says that the land had become as a wilderness, or the people had become as a wilderness. What has caused your life to become dilapidated and disoriented? We have to take the time to assess, to understand how you got to that point and that place in your life. And in order to do that, you have to understand the law of recognition. If you don't understand the law of recognition, you're going to continue to repeat and you're going to continue to produce regret over and over again in your life. In other words, you have to take the time to recognize patterns, recognize psychological constructs, recognize emotional triggers, recognize psychological buttons, recognize stigmas, labels, soul ties, emotional wounds, scars, soul designs, imprints, things that have come into your life, traumatized you, and gotten you off of the course of where you were headed. Now, that process for every person is going to be different, but you have to take the time to assess where did you become stuck in your life. I don't know what it is for you. I don't know what the situation, I don't know the scenario, I don't know the events that led up to it, but you know. And so you have to take the time to explore those areas of your life if you truly want to get healed and whole and you truly want to move your life to the next level. The other reason, not only do you need to do this for recognition purposes, but the other reason that you need to do this is you need to do this for revolution in your life. And why do I say revolution? Because what we have to understand, after we recognize a pattern in a cycle, we have to determine what constructs and what systems do we put in place to revolutionize our lives so that this doesn't happen again. See, the question really is not why is this happening in my life. The question is, what do I need to master so that this doesn't happen in my life again? See, that's a different question. When you ask a different question, you access a different portal. When you access a different portal, you awaken to a new possibility of what your life can become. So the question is not why is this happening to my life or what is wrong with my life. The question becomes, what do I need to put in place so that this does not happen in my life again? And I think this is the work that so many people don't take the time to do that is so absolutely essential and important to moving your life to the next level. You know, years ago, I was really, really frustrated. I had this vision in my heart. I had this dream that I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to empower the world. It was big. It was ambitious. There were people that told me I was absolutely crazy, too ambitious, no way I could do it. But here I am over a decade later with impact around the world, with a brand that is respected globally. Here I am with a podcast that's getting ready to turn a decade old. Here I am featured on television and magazines, respected as a thought leader all around this world. Why am I saying this? Because that would not have happened if I didn't understand the power of recognition and revolution. I reached a point in my life where I came to a place of discovery and awareness, and I realized that I was in my own way. I had all of this vision. I had all of these things that I wanted to do, but I was in my own way. I was blocking my own breakthroughs and progress in my life, and I began to say, how do I move from here to the place that I want to be? And if you've read my autobiography or listened to the podcast, you know that I went through a season where I literally said, forget it with Jamel Sanders International. It's not working anyway. nobody cares, nobody believes in this, I should just go do something else with my life. And it was in that season that great mentors and advisors and coaches and people began to help me to break out of this self-limiting belief and perception that was keeping me back from moving to the next level. And as I began to do that work, it revolutionized everything about my life. Not only did I hit a reset, but I rise to realms of success and prosperity that I did not even know were possible. The brand, everything that I had been trying to do started to take shape in that season. Why? Because I realized that I was